And so with all the power and strength I have left in me, as Dexter, Jenny Gardner, or Junior, or Ellie, or whoever you want to believe me to be, understand this: I'm a righteous, innocent man, which is rare. And there's no other in the time space of 1994 and to the day that was righteous, innocent. There are preachers and pastors, but they're just righteous just at best. But the righteous innocent is different. But one way or another, I have not seen any in my entire lifetime of 30 years, if you will. And I'm being specific in this for a reason, and honest to the fullest. And it means that I am not imperfect, but for a day I could be, because it was people who needed me to be for a time. But with this recording, I say the final GOTCHO reminder, and that's the name of it, if you will, at heart and space and spirit's time goes, because it does the final degradation on all things concerning my case and my situation, even though most probably didn't care about it, and it sounds kind of arrogant, but not much like care about it. And so with that, I say the case of Left Eye, the case of ATL, the case of New York, and the case of Valdosta or Cali or any other place that was involved in the hip-hop battles of 90s all the way to 2000s, even though I myself was unaware and in my heart unrelated to it. But because I was somehow put into it, I had to do a judgment, because God the Father, who was over the weather systems in the earth, had fallen because of that battle. And nobody knew it or cared about what was happening. And because of that battle, you will, he fell from grace, if you ask me. But it was finished when another rapper took the seat in 2005, around that time. That was also a part of the same thing. So anyways, they all fell for grace. All the people that was in heaven, that everybody loved and known, they all fell for grace. They got possessed from their own lust, which was weird, but it happened in the spirit world. And so they all died and fell, from grace, like meaning they fell out of heaven in their heavenly authority in the place of their studies and the things they used to do. They fell away from that into earth. It was weird. They unnaturally fell, and they're gone forever, including God the Father that was doing the weather systems. And so after this happened, he run, but not really at any which way. And so with this, I gave over the tent, tabernacle, or Shecock and Beko Dodge to a man named Tupac Shakur, which I am being led to say by the U.S. justice system, as well as the weather systems in heaven and the skyboard. Because I myself would never say these things or take on a battle in this way. But that's not the way I play. But because I must, I did say. And so I gave over the tent, tabernacle, and Shecock and Rezo because I was a baby in the earth. So these women fell from grace. But now that I mention it, it seems kind of like it was supposed to happen, like a prophecy, right? And it was. And so that's what it was. But as for the final reminder, I say all these souls are condemned to death and Gog, beyond all infinite time zones. But me, myself, got the infinite opposite in every which way. Every which way, even the kind of stuff that people don't compensate, if you ever would say. You know what I mean? And so that's me. We're Soto. You can check my Glauco and Kaka. That's the only way you could tell who I be. Because the deception is so deep that you couldn't even understand that a person is who he is in plain sight right now, the American flag. That's how bad the great deception was. People were trying to get things that wasn't theirs in the afterlife and keep them forever. And because of that, I was removed from grace unnaturally, which is not possible for the righteous innocent ever. Because if you righteous innocent that far in the game, then you are not somebody who couldn't ever fall, no matter what, for the top of the game. And so I fell, which is weird. And this is why the deception was so deep. And so the deception is lies and lies and lies, unnatural stuff, people saying stuff in every which way that's false, in every which way, every which day. And the false was destroyed by the cross. But the cross and my situation was covered up by more deception and layers and layers and layers and helpings. So even when I win, my victories covered up under deception. Layers and helpings and helpings and layers cover up the victories. So when I speak, that's covered up under the deception, the great, the heaps, the layers, the helpings. And so underneath all this is called the Great Deception in general. That's why I named this time in history as the Great Deception, because it's from 1994 under 2023 and everything after that 2023 period. But me myself will be caught up in the sky supernaturally like everybody expects, no matter what, because I must. It's my nature, in spite of any other guy. So naturally at this time, I was already going to be caught up in the sky. But now it definitely is the time, for the simple fact the U.S. custody system considered me a meat and not race, so-called, in heaven italics, for someone who is a threat or something against the U.S. without saying it. And it wasn't something that was possible for me to ever be in my lifetime because of the way I lived in nature, blatantly, in plain sight. Was not a person that could ever have those kind of claim strikes, you know what I'm saying? But because I was, and also executed in a different way, consistently and consecutively, you know, almost every beginning day, I had to leave, and they told me to, and so I listened, and I left every time, and they didn't even see it or get it. But every time they told me to, I left. Before the 9/11 attacks, I left, because if a person not conscious and aware of what the other people are, then they are not eligible for the clear. And since when I was aware and I became the one chosen for it, I left, because I was aware and wise enough to know that me and my natural strength would not stay in play when it's not appropriate, or the time, or the game, or the nature, or the state, or the situation. So if it's not that type of battle, I'm not going to come with that type of gyros. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just the way it is. And so for that, y'all was given over to the tabernacle of endless Kedar and Pong Jesado movement maneuvers. And they told me death and suckchos for nothing in particular, and they kept it forever. And so I couldn't live in the sight of anyone in the universe, not even my own, if you will, your condetta, which is not something that applies to me as well as it does to any other human being, which is hard to explain, but that's what happens when you're a supernatural righteous innocent. Certain things are not the same for you as it is for others. Now, yeah, I'm going to use whatever fame I had and hype to finish off this message instead, because I could rap and I could rhyme and I could do this easily natural, but now it's not needed in any which way imaginable. So I won't, but I will speak, and I won't make a lot of recordings, but I will say that if you do this to a person, then you mean war. But if you don't mean war, then you mean the game, right? To play, right? But if you play games in the time when it's serious, then you're dead. But if you tell me that I'm playing games when I'm serious, then I'm red. But if you tell me that I'm playing games when I'm serious and I say it, then you telling me I'm playing games when I'm mysterious and I'm dead. And that's difference. Yah whistle and clock difference. It's it.